Hello YouTube and welcome back. In this video we're going to be talking about repairing a cast iron block. This is a Ford FE. The starter bolt was broken off. This is part of the holds the bell housing on. The starter goes in here. Ford FE, doesn't matter. The ear was broken off and I actually started the repair and then I thought y'all may want to see this. So here you go. We're going to start the video off. I had just started, so all I did was, it's been hot tank cleaned and I got all the oil off of it. I buffed it, and what I started doing at first is I started heating it up just enough. Don't want to get it cherry red and remove all the carbon from it. That's when you have a problem. It starts to crack. It gets brittle. You have all the nightmares of people who welded cast iron and then ended up with junk. The crack just keeps going. It's because you remove the carbon. So tip of the day, number one tip is don't get it cherry red. You can get it just slightly, almost to the cherry red part, just enough to open up the pores, and I'm letting brass flow into it. Once I have a base metal, like my foundation to a house, once I have that done, now I can go ahead and start doing my repair. Don't sit there and just try to get too crazy on it. Tip of the day, don't get it too hot. Don't remove all the carbon. Tip of the day, get the pores, open it up, and do your first layer first. You let the brass go into it. Now you have a foundation to add more brass to it. I chose the hard way, which is to weld around. The threads were there, and I wanted that as a location, making it easier to find the location of the bolt hole. If I had the bell housing, I would have welded it solid, center punched it, drilled it, and been done. What I did is I welded two walls up the side, and I let them touch each other. Then I added more brass. I would rather have more brass. I had quite a bit more, and then get rid of the brass later, start grinding it and shaping it. I could put a casting line in here. I almost thought, let's go ahead and put a casting mark in here. This isn't a concourse restoration, so I'm not trying to make it look like it's never been repaired, even though I did texture it and it doesn't look like it's ever been repaired. All right, all that being said, you probably want to know how I got to this point. I'm going to put videos and all kinds of things of how I got to this point, and then we'll end up back here. Welcome back, YouTube. In this video, we're going to be repairing a cast iron block right here. On cast iron, my preferred way, and I do have a furnace and I do furnace welding, but braising on cast iron is really a preferred way. It's really good, especially something you can do at home, because it's not so invasive that you're going to pull all the carbon out of the block and you're going to tear the block up in welding it. Some of the old timers can do cast iron welding. Everybody can do all kinds of welding. Awesome. Those videos are out there. I'm just giving you the tip on something like this. This will work. This will last forever, and it's not as invasive. We're not putting the block in a furnace. This block is a cherry block. That's a standard bore. It's a restoration out of a Thunderbird, so we really don't want to get invasive on it. We're doing more of a restoration overhaul. We're putting a fresh set of rings and bearings in it, so we don't want to sit there and put this in a furnace and start all your machining all over again. All right. Once again, this is the better way to repair cast iron that's not so invasive. So I'm going to use brass. I'm going to braise it. You don't have to heat it up as much, and it's just as strong. It's very strong. What it does, it heats up the pores, accept the brass into all of the little cavities of the pores, and it sticks very, very well. One of the keys on cast iron, if you heat it up till it gets cherry red, right about the point is getting cherry red, and you go a little further, all the carbon comes out, which is, you all think carbon is bad. Carbon is good. Carbon is what holds everything together. You remove all the carbon, you have brittle cast. The carbon is there for strength. Carbon is the glue of the earth. So we're going to, don't get it too hot. And let me see if I can't get down in there. Y'all can see what I'm doing. I had already started the repair, and then I realized that y'all may want to see this, so here we go. All right, it's hot. I like to build a little bit more. Bring this down. I like to build it up a little more than I need. I can always go and add a little more, but I can always, now that I have more, I can grind it. I also like to leave a hole where the bolt was. You don't need to do that. You can fill it all the way up, make a little template and drill it. If you can see, the center there still has the hole. Maybe I can get to it. All right, so you can see there's still the hole that's in there. I just built it up and around. I built more than I needed, so that now I can machine it, and I'll do all this by hand. Shape it, and then I can drill it. I have half the bolt hole there that I can find my center. Not a problem. There you go. I should have probably maybe started from the beginning of the video, but the first thing I did is just heated it and put a thin layer. The very first thing I did is I prepped the metal with the die grinder and then just lightly did a thin coat of brass. This is a brass welding rod, and it has flux on it, and I just did like a thin coat, just real lightly, to make sure that I've adhered to the cast iron. Now I have a foundation that I can build on. So there you go. I'll add some videos of how I shaped it, grinded, and drilled it. My preferred way to do a repair in cast iron without being so invasive. I can hold the block, I can touch the block. It's warm, but the block is accepting the heat without a problem. I'm not overheating the block. I can touch it all the way to there. It's just, you know, there's no, you can see there's not tons of heat coming off of it. It's just enough to have made the brass soften and embed itself in the cast iron. All right, I hope this helps. It's hot. I hope this showed you, beep. All right, I hope this helps and shows you how I repair cast iron and what's my preferred way to do it. I may add some video to the actual grinding and machining to get this back looking like that. I know I will. But for now, I'm going to cool off a little bit, and then I'm going to get to grind this once it cools off. We'll see you on the next one, or in the after this one, or sometime we'll see you. Well, as you can see, starting to get shape now, and I like to do more and then just work my way back. That way we don't have any imperfections, but it doesn't really matter. This is just cosmetic, if anything. And a little tip, I don't know if you all have noticed that. Do you see how flat that looks? See the reflection? See that? To get that, crisscross. Go this way. If you keep going this way, you're going to end up getting humps up and down. So what do? I come across this way afterwards. And then I come across this way. And then I come across this way. If we keep hitting crisscross motions, we will actually get a beautiful flat finish with the die grinder. By hand, and yet no special machines. So, oh, sorry, cover your ears. I don't know if you can see that. You see how nice and flat it was? And that's just with the die grinder. That's not with anything else besides a die grinder. See that? Once again, let's crisscross this baby. You see that? I don't know if you can or can't. So basically what I've done, with the reflection, I think you can see how flat it is. We can actually get a machine finish. And this does not have to be a machine finish. This is going to be cast, and I'm actually going to take off my mask. This is actually cast, and I'm actually going to contour this. I'm going to go and start rounding this now. The point is, if you're doing, this is a good tip to know if you're porting a cylinder head. Have you ever seen people that port cylinder heads and everything looks like flat? Like, how do they do it? Now you know. Crisscross it. What we're doing is, well, I'm going this way. If I keep going this way, like I said, then I'm going to end up having humps up and down because there's no way you can control this, and it's round and it's going to get low spots. By going this way, now I'm only hitting high spots because my low spots are in this angle. So now I'm going this way and it's going to get those. Then I'm going to go this way, and then I'm going to go this way. So I'm going to go all different angles, and you end up like that. You end up nice and flat. Okay, I want to show you how nice and flat that is. I mean, it's flat. And it doesn't have to be. Like I said, I'm going to contour it round, and then I'm going to texture it to match. But that was just an extra little tip of the day. Just keep a marker with you, and that will show the low spots. Watch your ears. You see that? Didn't take very much. There's not much low spots in there, but I'm going to put a low spot in it. I put a low spot in it so that you can see that if I kept just one angle, it's going to be Humpty Dumpty. But I can crisscross it. See if I don't get my hand in the way. Can you see that low spot? There. See that low spot? So now I'm crisscrossing it this way until I get rid of that dark spot right there. See that? Now all my lines are this way. And you can see the little Humpty Dumpties? Humpty Dumpty. Now with the die grinder, you can see, and I'm not even trying, and I could lower this lower, and you can see how nice and flat that is across there. When I get this, either the block up higher or the camera down lower, I could, like I said, put a straight edge across here. It's flat. I don't care. I don't care. All right, look at that. All right, let's go ahead and round this over here. That's where my hole is going to go. I just used a template, little guide, so that I could see just roughly what I got to work with. Okay, if you saw when I welded it, I actually build the walls up, so it's kind of hollow inside of there. You could most definitely fill it solid, so that way you could just center punch and bore. I've done it many different ways. Sometimes I'll put a bolt in there when I weld. That way when I come in and drill that bolt back out of there, I can actually save the threads. But all different ways of getting the hole. Don't worry about that part. If you're a novice, it's probably better if you just fill the hole. It's easier than if you have an existing hole and wants to come follow the hole. But you'll see what I do when I get to there. There's my template that I made off of another block. So I'm going to follow that right there, which is looking really good. Let's go and finish that other end right there. Or as I like to say, just get her done. Look at that. I'm really liking that. I'm really liking it. Finish that right there first. It's pretty good. If y'all can see that or not see it. Alright, that's where I'm at so far. There we go. Alright, that's where I'm at so far. Have it nice and rounded. You can see my line right there. Still got just a tad to go, but I'm going to go ahead and now start getting this closer. Once I have this angle here finished, because this is has to be flat. This is the bell housing. So once I finish this flat spot perfectly, then I can measure the backside. This does not matter. It's cosmetic. But I do have another FE block that I've measured, and I can actually make it the same thickness as what it originally was. Doesn't matter. This is cast. This is cast. This is machined. So this is the only important area. I shouldn't say only important area. The starter has to fit in there. But like I said, we do have the template that I made off of another FE block. And we know we're there. I'm already actually, all that's done. I can texture this now, and we're done. Once it gets painted, you'll never ever even know. I texture it just because that's what I grew up doing. But it doesn't need, you can leave it like that. I mean, actually it looks pretty nice and machined. But all that being said, this is all done by hand with a die grinder. And you can do amazing stuff with the die grinder. Can you see that? Got a little more here to work on. Try not to get too close to the camera when I'm grinding because of getting all kinds of stuff on my camera. But I have a little more to go on this side right here. It's mainly cosmetic. It probably wouldn't even interfere with anything, but I'm gonna go ahead and make it right on the money. Right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work this right here and get this perfectly flat. Then I might even start on punching my hole in there. So, all right, I got things to do. Come on, people. Cardboard makes perfect straight edge, if you ask me. If you're asking me, who's asking me though? All right. That's the flux from the welding. Look at that. We're getting closer. We are most definitely getting closer. A couple little low spots there. I'm not going to. I would normally stop right now and fill those little low spots, but I'm not going to because I don't need to get crazy. Let's not get crazy. Don't get crazy. Tip of the day. Tip of the day, don't be crazy. That would be an excellent tip of the day, is don't get crazy. When I get to this point, I should just use a file. Toolmakers, tool crib, but it's Toolmakers blue, just to get a little idea of what's happening. Liking it. You're probably going, whoa, what's this? My hand in the way? That stopped me from actually, tip of the day, from sanding over here or grinding over here. For right now, I can do it flat. Once I get it real close, then I'll remove this and hit the whole thing. But oh, I'm not even showing you what I'm doing. I'm sorry. Well. And once again, you can't see what I'm doing. I should just back up. Back up. Let's see if you can get it better. Keep moving.
All right. Whew. Where's my ass? Oh.
All right, so now I got it nice and flat here, which is not a crucial area at all. So, did you know that you can use the side of some cardboard? Straight edge? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Oh my. My straight edge says it's straight. I know y'all are laughing at me. Don't be laughing at me. I don't think you can even get to this. You can't really see it. It's straight. You see the shadows? Okay. There we go. All right, got a couple little divots, little low spots right there. Not to worry. This is nothing. There's nothing that mounts here at all. There is nothing at all that mounts here. It's nothing. So those little divots, they're not even gonna, you don't even worry about them. I could go in there, and what I would have done is slightly before I got to this nice and flat stage, I would have probably just gone in there and put a couple of little more dots. I have my trusty torch right there waiting for me, and I decided, no, not worth it. Leave it alone. It's coming out so perfect. That ain't going to be anything. That's nothing. You can't even feel them, but the blue dye does get in there and you can see them. They're little bitty divots, not to worry. We're good to go. This is perfectly flat now. Now I'm going to work on getting this backside just as flat as that side there. That way I can do all my measurements from the back forward. Not that it makes a difference. This is cosmetic and I already spent way too much time, but it's looking pretty good, I think. All right, my peoples, look how nice and flat that is. That's that side, which this does not really matter. There's nothing like a Chevy that the starter bolts up here. If it did, bolt it on. Look how nice that is. Now this I want flat as well, because this is the bell housing side. So the bell housing on an FE sits on this side. The starter mounts here to the bell housing, and I show it a little bit further back. And maybe I should stay this far back when I film. Maybe. Let's try this. Just for the heck, for shits and grins. What do they say that? Now I gotta edit that out of there. All right, let's leave it like that. So, all right, we want this flat area here. Perfectly flat. Here. We have our little template that I made off of another FE. And as you can see, I still have a little bit here to cut. So I still got some more here in the machine. And we still got to drill it. Not a problem. What I want to do right now is I want to get this side nice and flat. And you saw how we did that. Stay hydrated, people. Just old school. Mano a mano, as they say. I don't know what they. Tip of the day, they say. Tip of the day. If you lay a little tape while you're filing, you'll get it flat with the tape, and then when tape comes off, you can finish off the last little bit. I don't want to be filing on this until I get to just the end of where I want to be, and that's all we're going to do. And somebody else buys the tape here, so I can use as much as I want. Haha, Shop Mom is going, what the heck? Don't need to use that much, but like I say, when somebody else pays for it, man, get after it. That's a terrible way to, that's a terrible mentality, dang. Terrible mentality. See, now I can be there. I don't know if y'all can see that. Yeah. And I can file, and I'm above the deck or the spot that I want to do is, let's call it the deck. This is the deck right now we're working with. It's actually the back of the block, but all hands on deck. What does that mean? Okay. See that? What do we have? A little high spot? Yeah, yeah we do. Yes we do. Make sure you put your glasses on, make sure you put your masks on, make sure. I use this all the time. I use it all the time. You want to see all the tools that I'm using? There's all the tools that I'm using. Die grinders, files, more than one kind of file, grinder, die grinder, water, template, more die grinders, different bit. Anyway, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it, Danny. Come on. Better get this done today. As I like to say, it's a job, not a career. Real close. Okay, time for the big dog. I think I am. Real close. Man, we're so close. Got a little high spot right in here. We're getting there. We are getting there. Hey. Mira. Alright, here's the template that I'm talking about. And you can see some discrepancies as you see. Hole lined up, nice and straight. In the dowel hole. Over here it lines up right there. And I went ahead and chose this corner right here. See the corner? I went ahead and put it right there, even when I made this template. So it's right at the end of the main cap, see? It's right there. I put it right at the corner so that it'd be easy cheesy. And then this also happens to be a rare HP block, so real rare block. In the Ford FE world, that is. All right, so here we are. Let's get you turned around. Okay, so here's my discrepancy. If I put this back here, right where it is on the other block, it's quite a bit off. There we are, pretty close. Doesn't quite line up exactly right. So if I raise it a hair and put it to that dowel pin, this is the most crucial point. This dowel pin and this dowel pin here are where, consider them as registers. That's where all the machine work is done off of, essentially. So these are what's important. The casting, which is here, the casting can shift and move. So I'm not surprised there at all. I'm just kind of surprised that, if you'll see, if I line up these holes, that the angle is a little off. See that? Angle is a little off there. Oops, I moved it, but you know what I'm talking about. The angle is off there, and down here at the bottom is a little bit off. So that's kind of what just gets me, is the angles aren't just right. I'm a little bummed, but not to worry. I'm going to use this dowel pin here. I know what I'm going to do. Before I'm all said and done, I'm going to make a full template and drop it down to pick. But I know also that I measured on the other block. I went and I measured from main cap here over and scribed my lines where my hole's going to be. There's the original hole. So I still have the original hole inside. I actually welded around it, and half the bolt hole on this side is still the original bolt hole. So when I drill it and tap it, if I do everything right, I'm even going to catch the threads, and it's going to be the original. I won't even have to do a helical in here. So that's going to be my guide also. It's getting time to exit and go ahead and plunge a little hole in there and find my original hole back again. All right, but my back is hurting and I still got another hour to go. I like to use this to align my drill bit. You can also use this to align my drill bit. I can see my original threads right there, so we're on the golden. We're golden. We are golden. This is smaller than I need. Probably, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. I'm all confused. It's smaller than I need. And I welded around it. You could weld it solid. I left it. Any brass that dropped in there did drop in there, but I want to call it golden. Golden child. Mira. I also have jigs that I made throughout the years. Here's one is an old dry sump pump, and you can lay it flat and drill right through it and be perfectly straight. This one is made for 3/8, so when I get to doing the actual bolt hole, which is this hole right there, so when I get up to this size to drill that, I'm going to put this here, just like that. I could clamp it. I know me, I'm going to do it by hand, and that's going to allow me to drill perfectly straight. Right now I'm smaller, so if I'm off a little bit, when I use this, then I'm actually going to pull this out and I already have it drilled and tapped. So take your piece of anything, piece of wood, piece of anything at all, go to a drill press, drill a hole in it, lay it on top, and now you have something to hold yourself nice and straight to. That's one example. Another tip of the day, take you anything that's machined perfect, lay it flat, and now you have something to make sure that you're straight up against. And then this way, the exact same way, I have something straight up against. There I am. I can always check, make sure I haven't moved. Look at that. Look at that. And I'm smaller than the hole right now. And I'm really liking it, liking it, liking it. Okay. Let me go slightly. If you want to go slightly this way, just slightly angle it. And then turn it back. Get away from those threads. And I can still see all my factory threads. I keep moving around so y'all might not be able to see the factory threads. You see what I'm doing? See the angle? I want to move it out. I want to move it this way. So I'm angling it this way. Once I get a little spot started, then I'll straighten out and it'll walk the hole that way. Not a problem. Because I'm going with a smaller drill. There we go. It does roll around a lot, so I may be losing y'all here and there and every once in a while. All righty then. Some days you just have to walk away, and I probably should at this point. I'm tired. But tip of the day, walk away. Tip of the day, if you're tired, walk away. And I'm not walking away. I'm not walking away. Tip of the day, don't walk away. I'm not following my own tips of the day, huh? I'm using every drill bit in the house. Ooh, doggy. Walk away, walk away. Walk away. Watch your ears. See if the glass was on. Okay. All right, we're getting there. It's going to be time to call it a day. I am going to trim it further. Let's see what we got today. Doing really good. You can see I already have an ear here. Still have, it's way too long. It's okay. I'd rather cut, you know, don't want to get into any kind of jokes there. But I know there's no such thing as way too long. All right. There we are. Real close. And remember, like I said, going by the template here, I thought actually was pretty darn close. But realize this is just casting, and this is where we need to be over there, right up against that corner there. And sure enough, when I line up this hole up here, can't see them, but I'm going to point up here and here, we're on the money. Why also do I say right on the money, kind of, is because there's my original threads. So and I'm going to probably end up taking a die grinder, and I'm going to walk this hole out this way a little bit. On that inside, I can see all my original threads. So that's where I need to be. I need to be right there. Which also tells me that, Papacito, I got a lot of grinding to do here. So I'm going to take all this here off. I'm going to go and remove everything on this side of this. Let's see what we got here. So I got to get all that gone. I got to get all that gone. I thought I was close. I am close. But it's time to call it. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. That's what I'll be doing tomorrow. All right, maybe it's not worth it all day to spend here doing this, but hopefully y'all got some enjoyment out of it. If nothing else, you know I did. I don't know if you can see that. I took a die grinder and I cut a slot in. I'll highlight it. And what I did that slot for is so that I can see, I'm gonna do it again, where I'm at. There's my line I gotta go, so sometimes it's a lot easier to butt your ears. To cut a slot to get to the line you want to be at, then you can go in there. And that's where the line that we want to be at up there. Can we see that from the top side down? You probably can't. You're probably wondering what I'm talking about. There. So there's my line. I'm gonna be right there. See that round line? So I cut a slot in it and got close to my line. That way I can do. There's my line. And we could use anything. See the line I'm talking about? Now we can comfortably grind until I touch the line. I know I got tons to go. So instead of having to go check, I would just take a die grinder and go to my line that as far as I want to go. I could put a couple of them and then just connect the dots. Just another little tip of the day. Now you can see how I still have more to go. See the hole? I still got quite a bit. Put this where it needs to be. There we are. And this block is a little bit thicker, but you can still see I gotta move the hole out that way. And that's okay. And it had a little divot there that I actually did on the other block. Has a little spot there, so I may put that back in there as well on this block. I never had this corner, but all right, let me get to it. Okay, tip of the day, you're not gonna do what I'm doing. You're gonna just weld it up solid, center punch it, and drill it. Me, because I'm a little on the cuckoo side. I had to move the hole out that way. I drilled small until I found the threads, the original half. Okay, because that's the original there. I haven't done anything to that side. An end mill. And you don't have to buy a whole set. You can buy just one bit by itself on the end of a drill and just move the hole out. Look at there. So you're gonna try to move that hole out with the drill. You're gonna have difficulties. An end mill, and then I can get in there and I can move it over, go down. So I'm using an end mill on a drill. Tip of the day, there's all kinds of stuff you could do, all kinds of different ways. Like I said, it would have been much easier to just center punch it and re-drilled it. But I had half the hole there, so that's how I'm working off half the hole. As you can see, I'm getting there. I don't know if I can get any closer than that, but those are the original threads on that side. So I've managed to get right up to it, and I'm slightly bringing the hole bigger. And look, I'm almost there where I can start tapping. And then I'm going to use a block to get my square and to get my, there we go, right there when I start. Nice and straight, and nice and straight. Makes it easier when you're figuring out your angle. And I still have a light little work to do everywhere, but it's pretty well roughed in. There. Here we go. All right, so there you can see way down to the hole the original threads, and I'm just following. I'm not cross threading them. I happen to catch them right there. Look at there. There we go. So there's the original hole. So that's how we know we haven't moved the hole any which way. So all right, we got a long way to go. Well, no, we don't. We've gone a long way. I'm going to texture it now. Maybe trim it just a little hair. There's my original hole. I'm going to go ahead and pop out the other side, and we're almost done. All right, we're real close. Time to just texture it. Using a carbide bit. I have a bunch of them, even chipped off bits. I'm going at a low speed, and we're going to just put a texture to it to match what we have there. And I still got to go down a little bit further. This is the thickness of a different block, but I can see that the original one wasn't this thick. So let's get it done. Oh, sorry, watch your ears and put some safety glasses on. On. If I can do it backwards, I wish y'all could see how I have to do it. If I can do it like this backwards with the camera behind my back, y'all can most definitely do it without the. Y'all can most definitely do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, I'm using one of my old tips. There we are. I'm using one of my old tips that, of course, it's not gonna, it's Monday today, and it has a lot of chips in it, and it's a little bit out of round. Let's see if I can spin it out. And it actually vibrates a lot. I'm turning it real slow. And you're just letting it bounce around. And what it does, it makes a texture. So there you go. There you can see the texture mark. See the texture on the shadow? That texture I did by the die grinder. Just letting it. So here's a factory one. See the casting mark? And there's even a little divot cut right here. I may add that little divot cut there. If I wanted to, I could grind, and put me a casting mark. This is the casting mark that went along right here. That was the mole right there, and it goes across sideways. So I have enough metal on ours. Let's go back over there. Okay, here we are back. So I left enough here. that if I wanted to put that casting mark that went across there and then went at an angle there, I could right now draw me a line with a marker and grind on both sides, and I'd have that fake casting mark that if I wanted to make it look. Here's nice and round. I'm going to texture it now, and I'm going to leave this big here. If you want, the customer can always grind that end off there. We can actually add that in there if we needed to. This isn't a concourse restoration or something, but I could, and I have duplicated casting marks. There's no need for here. I already spent way more time than I needed to. And you see I textured it, and I even go up a little bit higher. And then I just copy the texture that the block has. And I just copy the texture and I just blend it up so that it will actually just, it even feels rough. The same there, you know. And I could make it even rougher texture if I... All right, so there it is, textured all up. Wish you could feel it. Sometimes a shadowy, there you go. So I put a texture all on it. I match this texture that's here, goes all the way around. You can't even tell. Not, besides it's too perfect. It is just too perfect. It needs to be rounded a lot more. And just because the casting line goes up right here. Maybe I should back up a little bit. Sorry about that. The casting line goes up right here. Goes across the back, right up in here. And then right about here, cuts across to there. I showed you on the other one. And I just can't leave well enough alone. So I'm going to put a casting flash that's here. I'm going to put it across here. A lot of times we come in here and we grind all that off and smooth the block all out, especially for a show car or something. So we get rid of that casting flash. But the factory one would have had it across there. I showed you on a factory block over there. I'm just dying to put one across there just for, I don't know, because got nothing else better to do, and I got tons of stuff better to do. I don't know, but I might not. If I do, I hope I have a camera on. I hope I have the camera on. If not, we're finished, we're done, but let's see. All right, now we're back here and it's done. Okay, leave me a like, leave me a comment, subscribe, tell all your buds, tell all your friends. I see a lot of different people that are enjoying the stuff on the repair stuff. Some people say just go on and show me anything. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, leave me a subscribe. Who am I looking at? I'm looking at you now. Tell me what you like to see. Tell all your buds. Once again, I'm done with this. Now it's time to take this over to the hone. That might be a video how to hone a Ford FE block. All right, that's me. I'm getting back to work because I got a lot of work to do. And we'll see you on the next one.